Hello, everyone. Yes, welcome back to CUPPA CHAT, to the final CUPPA CHAT of this series. And we have saved, I think, the best till last. Out of all the guests we've had, I'm joking, we've had some wonderful guests, but this man is one of the most brilliant people I have ever worked with, ever. Never mind just in Panto, just in general. He was my dressing room buddy, and we just had lots and lots of laughs as I welcome to CUPPA CHAT the one and only Dean Winters. Hello, Dean.
Hello. What a lovely introduction, Gary. Bless you, my mate.
I'll pay you later, Dino.
I hope I can live up to it. Yes.
Oh, you will. You have. I tell you what, Dean, I was just telling him before we started that we've had so many people talk about Dino since he performed at the castle with me and Cinderella. It's been a couple of years ago now, hasn't it, actually?
But it is, yeah, it is. Cinderella's got a baby now.
Cinderella has got a baby now. It's been that long ago, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's not mine. It's not mine.
No. And it's definitely not Prince Charming's either. It's another person. No. But as I say, lots of people have been talking about you ever since, saying that you're one of their most favourite characters they've ever seen in our town, which is lovely. So we had to have you to finish off our CUPPA CHAT season, Dino.
That's very kind. I really enjoyed my time in Wellingborough. I have very fond memories of the Castle Theatre and of that cast.
Yes, it was a wonderful cast, wasn't it?
It was a great cast. I loved it. And believe it or not, it was the very first time that I'd played buttons and all the years I've done Panto. I must have done Panto for over 25 years now. It's the first time. I always play the comic because that's what I am. But I'd never, ever played buttons. And buttons for a comedian is like the holy grail. You know, every comic wants, because he gets to show not only that he is, a buffoon, but he also that he can act a bit as well, because he has that beautiful, tender moment where he tells Cinderella that he loves her. Yeah.
And actually, Dino, you've answered one of my questions before we even started, which is perfect, because someone said, I'm just going to read it to you before we start still. Someone said, my granddad said you were the best buttons that we've ever seen. And have you played buttons before? Which you've just said no. But isn't that nice that someo's granddad said?
Well, that is very nice for my first time playing buttons. I really enjoyed it. I loved it. And I think to play buttons well, it's imperative that you have a good Cinderella. And Amy she's just the sweetest person on and off the stage, and as we said, she's a mummy now, so that's lovely.
And she's brilliant, isn't she? Well, Dino, as I said, we've got lots of questions to come up for you today. We were sent loads and loads, and we've chose the best ones for you. But before we start, the most important question is: have you got a cup of something? I've got Mickey Mouse today.
I've got my very special mug here.
Oh, this is
which
very
I'll
special.
Tell you about a little bit later. Look at that box office radio.
That sounds intriguing.
That's a new project that I'm involved with at the moment, which I shall talk about later.
Perfect. Tell us about that a little bit later on. And Dino, as our final guest, like all of our guests, we have made an invention for you here at CUPPA CHAT to help you along with your everyday goings. It's so big this time. I've had to ask Laura to bring it in for us so you can see it.
Wow, I'm looking forward to this.
She's wrecking the thing already. Quickly, Laura. Pick it all up. It's all falling to pieces. Right. As a comic, you obviously know that sometimes it's like talking to a brick wall. Yeah. So we've decided to make for you the test, the joke test machine, which is a brick wall. Now, obviously, on here you've got your sweets, because you always chuck sweets out into the audience, don't you?
Yeah.
And so on. You've got your pen to write your jokes down with, and you've also got a bottle of bubbly. We remember that joke as well.
Yeah.
Will this come in handy? You could keep this in your dressing room, and then you've got your brick wall to test your jokes against. You see?
Of course. And I need. There's a couple of bricks missing in the house, so I can use it for that.
Well, Laura,
it will come in handy. I've spoke to, with my act, Gary, I've spoke to many brick walls, believe me.
I can imagine. You must have spoke to a couple in Wellingborough, but no, it wasn't actually that bad, are they? They're brilliant.
No, they were lovely audiences, weren't they?
Yeah, lovely. Well, Dino, as I say, we've got lots of questions, so let's get on with it, shall we? Now, we've got 15 minutes with you to ask as many questions as we can within that time. So I'm going to start the clock and we'll see where we go with it. Perfect.
Okay.
Someone said, this is a good one to start, and I'm going to test you straight away. What's the best pantomime you've been in and why?
Well, Wellingborough has got to be really up there because for some reasons that I can't say on television, and I think you know what they are, but it would be remiss of me to mention it. But I loved the audiences. I loved the town. We had a great cast, and I got to play, you know, as I say, the Holy Grail. I got to play Buttons. Other than that, my favourite panto was at the Rotherham Civic Theatre with Chico and lots of other people. My very good friend, Mr. Dave Short, and my other very good friend, Mario Fanazza. It's a good name, eh? That's his real name.
That's a good one.
And he lives in Los Angeles and comes over especially every year to do pantomime.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and he's a great actor. And we had a ball doing that. It was great, as we did in Wellingborough. So those two, really.
What makes, I know you said because Buttons is like the sort of comic character to play in Panto. What makes a character? Oh, Dino's disappeared.
I've lost you a second. I'll be back. Somebody. That's because somebody's trying to ring. Am I back? I'm back.
You're back.
Somebody's trying to ring me. Sorry.
See, he's so popular. He's getting booked up as we're talking live.
If only it was my agent.
If only it was your agent. I was saying, if someone, you say that Buttons is like the best character because of the comic. Why is Buttons so good? Why isn't Wishy Washy or the characters in Mother Goose, you know, Simple Simon? Why is Buttons the best panto character in your opinion?
Well, I think it's because a couple of reasons. One that I've already alluded to in the fact that Buttons gets to show not only is he a comedian, but he has that beautiful, one of my favourite words in panto, that beautiful pathos moment where he expresses his undying love to Cinderella, and unfortunately is rejected. So he gets to show a vulnerable side as well. So that's why I like, but also because I just think that Cinderella is the pantomime. You know, it's the pantomime. It's the ultimate fairy tale, isn't it? You know, it's about how all of us can aspire to be anything we want to be. You know, you can marry a prince, as we've found out recently.
Yes,
you know, you can marry a prince.
I tell you what, I've looked forward to this, but I've also dreaded what you're going to say during this cup of chat. I really am.
Don't talk about that interview. We're
not talking about that at all. Let's move on quickly. Someone asked Dina, how did you get into panto? Because lots of people dream of performing on the stage. How did you get into it to start with?
Well, I didn't have any formal training in anything. I did it School of Hard Knocks. I started by doing similar to yourself, Gary. I do cabaret and started in clubs and working men's clubs and such like. Well, before that, I was a redcoat. That's how I started when I was 17, and I, you know, then developed an act. Did the club circuit, then did the holiday park circuit, hotels and such like, still doing all that. But I always wanted to do panto. And then I was given the opportunity. A friend of mine, who's also a comedian, he mentioned me to the Spillers organisation. And I did, I started doing panto for them. I can't even remember how long ago. I must have done 12 years for Spillers. So I start, and I think on my first pantomime, I owned my own professional pantomime company for 10 years with a partner of mine. who's sadly no longer with us, but he and I set up Wonder Productions, which is a company that's still going. We don't own it anymore, but it's a touring pantomime that brings the pantomime to you, and tours all over Britain. And so we set that up, and I was in that. I was directing and in it for many years before I did my first static panto, which was at the Theatre 7 in Shropshire, in Shrewsbury. And that was Peter Pan.
And that's Peter Pan. Were you Mr. Smee?
I was indeed.
Yeah, I can remember you telling me that before. Because you always think, like, especially like Mr. Smee, when you see Captain Hook, obviously Captain Hook's a baddie, but yet the comic is playing the sidekick to the baddie. How does that work? Does it work the same as playing wishy-washy or whatever? You know, is it?
Yeah, it's very similar, because what you have to remember is that I mentioned him before. My very good friend, Mr. Dave Shott, he's much more astute at these things. It was him who pointed it out to me. You have to remember that there's no Dane in Peter Pan, but the Dane is actually Captain Hook, because he plays that foil to the comic and vice versa. And the Dane, and he usually, with all the Captain Hooks that I've ever worked with, they've got that camp side, you know, because he tries not to take himself. If he was more like an Ebenezer kind of character, you wouldn't get that comedy out of it. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. So it's a bit like when, you know, I've done the Wizard of Oz before, and the Lion is sort of the Dame character to work with the comic, who's the Scarecrow. It's kind of the same thing.
Exactly.
Interesting. Someone's asked a question, Dina, which I thought was quite interesting. Do you have any tips on learning lines? They said Buttons always had a lot to say on stage. So is there any tips you can give us?
Well, you know better than I do, Gary, that he used to help me with my lines, because I'm rubbish at it. and you know, and because all my stuff is in my head. Do you understand? My material is in my head. But I do, even though I might do material all the time on the cabaret circuit, I still write it all out for Panto, so I know where I'm going, because you slot your own material into the script. Basically, one of the only tips that I use for learning lines is I record them. Yeah, I record the person's line before me and the person's line after me, you know, and then I just listen, and then I try and learn my lines in between.
Yeah, and that is a very good way. And I think even when, like, I mean, I saw you write out your business in your script, and surely that helps you as well, does it? Like, put the routine of your joke.
Definitely. Even if you know the joke, when you actually write, or you know something, when you actually physically write it out, then it helps to embed it in your memory.
Yeah, definitely. Which brings us on to another question. Someone said, do you make up your own jokes, or are they written out for you in Panto? You've kind of said about this, so.
Well, as you well know, Gary, my jokes are as old as the hills. You know, they're all old school jokes. If I came on here and said that I'd written them, there'd be an outcry of people going, "Oh no, you didn't," you know. But yes, I do. I pick up bits of material, and then when I get the script for Panto, I go through it and do my crib sheet. So I'll go, oh, that gag will work there. You understand what I mean? Or if there's as we well know, very often in pantomime scripts, mentioning no names, but very often the gags are not that great.
No.
And you can think of a better joke that'll fit in that place. So usually, depending if the director allows you to, you can replace it with a better gag that'll fit better, you know.
And it all depends as well, doesn't it, on where you are, because you can bring local gags into it, you know, in some places.
That's a must. must. You know, that's a must. You got to use the local knowledge, you know, to bring, because that endears you to the audience, you know, because they go, oh, he knows about that place in such a place, you know. So, you know.
Do you think that helps, Dino, that if you come on, because as I say, we've had so many comments saying of how you're one of their favourite comics they've seen in Panto. Do you think it helped, especially coming to Wellingborough or wherever you've been, having all those little bits and pieces about Old Hills Barton or the Swansgate shopping centre? Do you think that helps a comic get liked really quickly by the audience?
Oh, definitely, because they laugh at that, because they go, oh, he knows all these local places and stuff, you know, and so they warm to you a lot quicker then, because you kind of go, oh, he took the time to find out where these places are.
Yeah. I mean, a good example in Cinderella is when you were driving the car with Amy, Cinderella, the coach which Buttons makes to try and make her feel happy, and you did a whole tour around Wellingborough near enough, didn't you?
We did. I had to give a running commentary around Wellingborough. Yeah.
And
don't
you
ask me to do it now, because
I was going to say, can you do it now? No. No, but the audience then go, oh my goodness, I live there, or as you say, he has taken the time as such to create, you know, it to feel like a home sort of world as such. Dino, someone said, how do you tell a good joke, and how do you get lots of laughs at the end of a joke? Because some people say it's all about timing and then saying it like that. Is there a good way of telling a joke?
Well, it is definitely about timing. It's about a joke. There isn't, in my opinion, there isn't much difference between a joke and a song, because it's all about rhythm. You know, da 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 da. You know, it peaks and troughs, and then it rises, and then it falls and lands. You know, it lands with the audience. But I think with my personal comedy, I tell stories. So it's engaging the audience in the little journey that you're going on to get to where you want to go, you know, which is the punchline at the end. And if there can be little in jokes on that journey, that I call it colouring in. If you drew a picture and it was just, you could go, oh, that's a good picture, but it was just in black and white. You go, how do I make it better? Then you colour it in. Yeah. And it's the same with it's exactly the same with the joke. You can tell the joke. That's why a comic and a lay person can tell the same joke, and one will be funny and one won't. Because you have to embellish it, you know, dress it up a bit, try and make it basically as funny as it can be to the audience. If you analyze it too much, though, it's not funny. So don't try and analyze it. You know, we always say funny is funny, you know, and that's, you know, and sometimes jokes will land, and sometimes, as I well know, they don't land.
It doesn't happen very often with you, though, does it? I mean, it happens.
Well, you know, not as often as it used to, thankfully. but that, Gary, is an important lesson in it, because that's how you learn.
Yes.
Because you go, because if you started and every joke was landing all the time, then you wouldn't learn anything. But it's got to kind of, you've got to go through that silence, you know what I mean, and go, oh, that doesn't work, scrub it and do something else next time.
Do you change stuff when the pantos start then, if something's not working? Have you ever changed a joke or a routine?
Definitely. Yeah, it's pointless. It's pointless walking on and off to your own footsteps, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's point. If something isn't working, then you try something else and put that in, you know. And I think, well, did you ever see me do the same show twice?
Well, you know what, Dino, I was just about to say that one of the reasons why I loved working with you is because you didn't really, you got the main script, which is important to tell the main story, but in certain bits, you didn't have a clue what you were going to say or what you were going to do, which I love. as a performer because it keeps you excited and you can see the whole cast is engaged with the comic.
Well, pantomime is very, very reactionary, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's, you know, you got to react to situations that happen off the stage and on the stage.
Yeah.
There are certain characters that can break the fourth wall, which the comic can, but there are certain characters that can't. And if they did, it wouldn't be as good, you know, because some characters like for example, Cinderella, she has to stick to the story because she's telling the story. You know what I mean? It's about her.
Yeah, definitely. Dino, someone said, how do they become a panto comic? Do you have to become a comedian first, or are you best to perform in other pantos and sort of work your way up? How do you get that role and be in the comic?
Yeah, I think you do have to be a comedian first, really, you know, because in my experience, producers, you know, that I've worked for people where they, you know, they say to you, oh, can you make that bit funny? Can you make that bit funny? Well, if you didn't have a clue what you were doing, then you wouldn't be able to make it funny.
No,
definitely
not.
They expect you to come with a wealth of your own material to insert into the script, you know, because that's what comics do, isn't it? You know.
Yeah,
definitely. So you do have to ply your trade a little bit first, in answer to your question, like on the cabaret circuit or wherever, to try and build up your own material back, as it were.
Yeah, and as you say, you will. Unfortunately, I've been there as well. Especially when you're sort of testing it as such on the cabaret circuits, there will be stuff that doesn't work, and you'll be like, I'm never ever doing that for a game. But you learn, don't you, from that? You learn from that.
And of course, there's stuff that you can do on the cabaret circuit that you can't do in pantomime, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Because it, obviously in panto, you can be cheeky, which I'm always cheeky because cheeky is funny, but it's a family audience, isn't it? So you've got to be careful, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Dino, someone asked, have you ever wanted to play a dame? They said you would be great.
I have played a dame.
Oh, you have? Oh, there you are.
I have played a dame, yes. When we had our own production company, I quite regularly played a dame. Would
you like to do it again?
Well, I'm not a dame as such, but I may be. We were supposed to, before the pandemic, be doing Cinderella for Enchanted up in Carlisle, where I've done a lot of pantos, and I was going to be one of the Ugly Sisters for the first time.
Oh, wow.
And if everything comes to fruition, then that will happen this year.
Yeah. Oh, great.
So, but
I can't wait to see the photos.
I said to my friend, my friend Robbie, who's a local radio presenter up there, and he's been in panto in Carlisle for longer than Enchanted have had it, and 20 odd years. I said, I'm only putting the frock on once.
And that's it.
I'm not ready to become a pantomime dame just yet. I'm having too much fun being the comic.
Yeah, fair enough. One more question before we have a very special guest. We've already seen her, but she keeps interrupting every so often. So did you enjoy, someone said, singing Baby Shark 1,000 times in Wellingborough, the song sheet? Do you enjoy the song sheet as the comic?
The song sheet for a comic is the best bit of the show, because he gets to usually interact with the audience, and sometimes it varies now for different reasons legally, but sometimes you get to bring audience members up on the stage, which is great because you get lots of business out of them as well. So yes, I do enjoy it. That particular song, can I pass?
Yeah. I know how much you love that song and how you didn't really want to learn it and you tried to change it.
I look forward to doing it twice a day, every day, Gary.
Well, I'm about to say we did it about 5 times a day, didn't we? In the end, we had We did it once, then the audience came on the stage, then we did it again, and we did it one more time, didn't we? Without, it's probably not your favourite song. What is the best song sheet then that you've done?
I've just done the last one I did before the lockdown. I quite like the 12 Days of Christmas, which is good because there's lots of business and throwing stuff out into the audience and this, that, and the other. That's quite good.
Yeah, I did that last Christmas. It was good fun.
I'm very old-fashioned though, Gary. I like the ones where for those people who are watching, young people who probably don't know this, the song sheet gets its name because it was an actual song sheet. It used to come down from the flies, a big with all the words of the song on, and everybody used to join in. And I like that. I like that because you get the kids up and you have a bit of fun with them. So, there's lots of good song sheets, but usually some producers thrust the current song onto you, like Baby Shark, as it was at the time.
Which was our year, Baby Shark. Yeah. Well, Dino, I must introduce her because every single episode she comes in and just sort of takes over. And you two obviously know each other as well.
I know what trouble.
Yes, she was your stage manager.
Yeah, I know. Before she married you, she was going to marry me, but she was my stage manager. She helped me more than anybody with my lines, and she knows that when we talk about, because she go, Dino, you don't say that there.
Well, Laura, have you got a question for Dino today?
I do. It's a fairly serious one.
Oh, a serious question.
A little bit into the...
Can you lean in a bit, Laura? Because I can see... That's better.
He's the first guest that's like, come on, move in, get in a bit. Oh, all right. I'll just go. You talk to her.
When you're talking about being a comic, you talk about this word called business. Now, what can you explain that a little bit more? Because I know what it means, but it's quite a does it just mean
business? Business means the kind of extra stuff that we put in to make something funny. For example, if you're telling a joke, but you need to kind of show the audience how the joke is funny and stuff. It's the techniques that you use, and that's business. As in, if you've got a prop and you perhaps you're working with, let's say, shaving foam, for example, and you want to pull the hat down so it squirts out the top, and other such things like that. And it's the things that you do with the prop that is the business that makes the whole thing funnier. That's just the word we use. We just call it. Can you put some business in there? So you might do what we call a pratfall, which is if somebody spills something on the stage, then you pretend. Giving the secrets away now, Laura. We're giving the secrets away. We pretend that we slip on it and fall over, which is, I'm not particularly good at pratfalls, but I've got a load of mates who have, and every time I see them, I believe that they've slipped on it.
Yeah.
But there is physical comedy is an art form in itself, and I'm not that great at it, I don't think, but there are lots of people who are brilliant at it, and I just think, wow, that's superb. But you have to have business to make things funny, and that's what we call it. We call it business.
Yeah. Well, that's a good question, Laura. Yeah, right. She's gone already. Right, Dina, now. She's gone now again. Dina, we've got time for just a few quick-fire questions to finish on. Someone said, if you could star in one Panto, you've near enough done them all, so if you could maybe star in one Panto again, what would it be and why?
I think it'd definitely be Cinders. Yeah, definitely, because Buttons is great, and I love it. And I think there's because you've done Cinderella loads of times, and I think she's, every time you do it with a different cast, it's a different beast, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's a different thing. It works differently,
Yeah, definitely. It's a good Christmas story, isn't it? But as much as it's not Christmas, it is Panto.
It's a feel-good story because it's the story of how, anybody can become anything.
Yeah, definitely. Someone said, Dino, have you ever lost your voice on stage?
Yes, lots of times because I shout a lot, you know, not in a nasty way, but I shout a lot of the audience and they shout back, and there's lots of noise. So it's something that we've all experienced, I think, especially in Panto, because if you're doing your job correctly, sometimes, I mean, when you're doing routines with the kids in the audience, you can't hear yourself. The ghost routine, we've done it many times, Gary. You can't hear yourself think, can you?
No, you don't even know if the ghost is there still or not, because everyone's so excited, aren't they? And it's brilliant. And let's ask this one. I know the answer again, but I want to see what you say, Dino. Do people play tricks on the comic in Panto, or does the Panto play tricks on the does the Panto comic play tricks on the rest of the characters? I'm saying this because I remember a certain table being filled.
Yes, they do play tricks on the comic, everybody. They do play tricks, but to their peril, because the thing about being a comic is, you know, if you think you are going to be funny, well, the comic will always top that, you know. And so if you want to play tricks, most comics just take it in their stride. Do you know what I mean? And they go, oh, very funny, yeah. But then you've got to beware then, because there's always retribution.
There is. You never play a comic up, I always say, because they will get you back. Definitely.
They will get you back.
If anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, the last show, well, the penultimate show, when the tricks and things are played, aren't they? You had to pull a tablecloth off of a table, didn't you? And you only had a few bits and pieces on. But this day, the whole cast, including Cinderella, I'm not going to let her get out of this, the whole cast covered the table with glasses and everything, didn't they? Pots and pans and
I was, and I could see everybody's face thinking, he's going to do this, you know, he's going to do it. And I wish I had done it without it going everywhere, because then it just gone, you know, but I couldn't do it. I'm not a magician.
No.
But and there was other things, you know, like if people drop lines, well, the comic is on that straight away. I mean, I came on with the script and gave it to Prince Charming, if you remember.
Yes.
So.
Yes. But again, you, especially when you're the comic, you can get away with that stuff, can't you? As long as the audience is enjoying the joke as well. And, you know, any good Panto actor knows that the comic is going to do that, and just go with it, don't you? You go with it.
You go with it. You've definitely got to go with it. And it does make the Panto funnier, because they see that, you know, that you may be playing a character, but you're just regular people enjoying themselves. And if you are enjoying yourselves, well, they are enjoying themselves, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Finally, Dino, tell us about what's coming up next. Tell us what's on your mug as well. What you're up to.
I will,
now.
Yes. So coming up next, I'm going to be doing, starting in June when the theatres reopen, a show at the Barbican Theatre, which I've been involved with the Barbican Theatre for many, many, many years. And I'm doing a show there on Thursdays called I Love Music, with a great big cast, about 12 of us. That's every Thursday till October, as well as doing my own cabaret around the Devon area. So I'll be working 5 or 6 nights a week then. So that's good after we've been in such a long lockdown. During the lockdown, a friend of mine set up Box Office Radio, which is a brand new radio station, which is going from strength to strength. And he asked me, would I present a show on it, which I do every Sunday at 3 o'clock. Boxofficeradio.co.uk. If you like musical theatre, and I know that you all do, you got to listen. It's a brilliant station. We run 24/7, so there's something for everybody. And we're up to, he started off just as an idea of my friends, because he was bored during the lockdown. We've got between 20 and 30,000 listeners a week now.
Oh my goodness, amazing.
Yeah, and we've got about 30 presenters, and you can download the app for free, the Box Office Radio app, so then you can listen to it wherever you go. And if you've got a smart speaker, you can ask your smart speaker to play Box Office Radio. See, I'm doing all the things on message here, Gary. I've been told to do. I'm being told to do by my CEO at the radio station. Make sure you mention the radio.
And I'll tell you what. I was going to say,
great station.
I'll tell you what, we'll put all the details in below as well, so everyone can have a look at it.
Yeah, and if you love musicals and movies, then it's a no-brainer, because that's all that we play, and from the obscure ones right up to the popular ones. I'm
more impressed, Dino, that all the way through this, you've held your cup in place with the branding on it.
I know, yeah. And next year in 2022, we're doing our very first box office radio big weekend.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Watch this space. Whereby the listeners come for the weekend probably to a holiday park in somewhere in Britain, and we're going to put on a musical theatre weekend with lots of big stars and stuff. Well,
this sounds amazing. Me and Laura would definitely be up for that. We'll be listening in. Yeah, we were. And I tell you what, Dino, we're not just saying it. We said as soon as we work together and then lockdown happened that we're going to come down and see you as well in your show, because we absolutely loved you. We loved you in Wellingborough, and I know a lot of people did as well. Thank you all for sending your questions in. Yeah, I hope you come back as well one day. I'd like to come back one day, but change of people again. So if you want me and Dino back in Wellingborough in Panto, write in and tell everyone.
You have to start a petition. Start a petition.
Oh, thank you everyone for sending your questions in for Dino. I'm sorry we didn't get to ask all of them, but we have run out of time and we'll actually have gone over because he's such a brilliant man that we could speak all day long, Dino. However, we have got one final thing to do, which is the competition, which we've been running the whole series to find out who can name as many drinks as they can within 30 seconds. Dino, we find out a lot about people in the last 30 seconds of the game.
You've got a name to say I'm an expert on drinks.
Any drinks at all. You can have hot drinks, cold drinks, alcoholic drinks sometimes come up. It's up to you, okay, what you say. But you're gonna have 30 seconds. We have got a leaderboard. As this is the final episode, you could go into first place and win 20,000 GLJ points. If you beat the lovely Fee, who is our tour and panto actor, who got 27 in that time.
Wow, that's good.
That is very good, isn't it? I'm going to give you 30 seconds on the clock, and you can name as many as you can in that time. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, go!
Coke, lemonade, tea, coffee, orange squash, blackcurrant squash, beer, wine, whiskey, what else? Milk, water, dandelion and burdock pop, cream soda, orangeade, cherryade, Lucasade, what else? Diet Coke. We could have all the diet ones as well, haven't you? Diet Lilt.
Stop there! He was like, oh, I've thought of something I can do now. Well, Dino, you didn't do too bad. You didn't do too bad at all. You got 20.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. So you're in, I think you're in joint 4th place. So that's not bad, is it?
That's not bad. I'm happy with that.
You don't win a prize, but you get respect on the leaderboard.
Can I not have a GLJ mug? So, you know.
I'll tell you what, I'll send you, and a lot of you guys watching at home know how special these prizes. I'll bring down to you when we come and see you the GLJ sticker rock, which is our special sticker rock we have.
That will be brilliant, because you'll be able to eat it by the seaside.
By the seaside, you see. So Fee has stayed in first place with 27 points. Then it's a lovely Victoria from the Mousetrap with 26 points. And in 3rd place is the lovely George, who's our teacher and drama creator, is in 3rd place. Oh, but Dino, we've come to the end. Thank you so much for talking to us today. And what a way to finish our series with the legend of pantomime, which is Mr. Dean Winters.
It's been a privilege. I've enjoyed every second of it. Nice to see you.
I'm glad you've enjoyed it. We'll see you soon, everybody, for some more Cuppa Chat. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye-bye.